Good afternoon. Today I would like to talk to you about a topic that's probably very familiar to you, but hopefully I will be able to do it from a new perspective. Let me start by saying something that you will all agree with. Interpreting is a stressful job. Like now, for example, you're listening to me and processing all the information that I'm giving, and at the same time, you're looking for the best word in your language to express my ideas. On top of that, you have to manage your business, find clients, and file your taxes. And that, no doubt, leads to stress. This is why it comes as no surprise that many interpreters have found ways to relieve stress. Some of us go walking in the woods, others go jogging in the morning, and other interpreters have started to practice yoga. Yoga, then, is the topic of my speech. But I will not tell you about the benefits of yoga practice. Instead, I will share with you something that I have recently discovered by listening to a podcast. That yoga is very controversial. And this controversy has actually turned into a true fight over the ownership of this what? Because what is actually yoga? If I could ask you, maybe some of you would say that yoga is sport. It's a fitness discipline. It's a class you take at the gym. It's something you do to become stronger, fitter, to lose weight. Some of you might also say that yoga is a form of meditation, something that helps you relax, connect with the world, and find yourself. Some others still might say that yoga is a kind of spirituality that helps you find meaning to life. But out of these answers, I'm quite sure that none of you would say that yoga is a controversial issue. However, it is, and it has been so for a very, very long time. However, for the purposes of this speech, we will say that this controversy started in 2013. On that year, Prime Minister Modi gave his maiden speech at the United Nations. He spoke about many things, as one should on their first UN speech. For example, he spoke about foreign policy and industry in India, but he also devoted a lot of his allocated time to yoga. He wanted the UN actually to back the celebration of the International Day of Yoga. He presented yoga not only as a healthy way to exercise, but also as a useful tool against climate change, which might be surprising. He said that yoga helps us reach inner peace and avoid conflict, and also teaches us how to take care of ourselves, so that we can take care of the planet. Modi also reclaimed yoga as something inherently Indian, which is clearly a smart thing to do now that yoga has turned into a multi-million-dollar industry. Interest for yoga might lead to interest for other aspects of India and might promote tourism. Well, the International Day of Yoga seemed like a great idea, and most countries in the UN supported it. In fact, it has been observed for the last few years. Modi also wanted, apart from observing the International Day of Yoga, to promote yoga in India, within his own country. He wanted people to practice more yoga and to do so everywhere. So he started a campaign to promote yoga in places like schools or even in the workplace. You might say that this is a very good initiative, but it wasn't so for everyone. Many people did not feel very pleased with Modi's idea. The number one reason for this controversy is religion. To understand why religion led to controversy in yoga, we must look at the origins of yoga. The problem is no one quite knows where yoga comes from. The most likely theory is that it originated in Hinduism, in the Hindu religion. You can still find traces of Hinduism in your day-to-day yoga practice. For example, the sun salutation, which is one of the most common posture sequences in a yoga practice, bears this name, sun salutation, which can also be translated from its original Sanskrit name as sun adoration, therefore an adoration of the god sun. Or, for example, when we go in our yoga practice, or when we try to make fun of someone who is a bit too fond of yoga, we are saying the Sanskrit word for God, If we take these reasons and add them to another fact, we can understand the controversy around yoga. And that fact is that Modi's party has often been accused of Hindu nationalism. This means that they are allegedly trying to redefine India as a Hindu country, therefore meaning that all that is Indian is Hindu and vice versa. This obviously leaves aside all the other religious and cultural communities in India, for example, the Muslim community. Now that we have spoken about these reasons, you might be a bit less surprised to know that minorities, especially the Muslim community, have felt threatened by Modi's initiative to promote yoga at both a national and international level. They feel, and sometimes some of them have said, that they feel they're having yoga pushed on them. The practice of yoga at schools has been especially contentious because the Indian constitution explicitly bans any kind of religious indoctrination at school. The government, of course, has denied that it is so and has argued that it's not to do with religion, it's only a healthy exercise. And they have even come up with a more mainstream version of yoga in order to appease the Muslim parents and other parents that were not pleased with the idea of their children practicing yoga at school. Has this been a solution to the controversy and all the problems? Actually, no. Because after coming up with this mainstream version of yoga to appease the parents who were not pleased with the religious aspects of it, then it was the more orthodox and conservative Hindus who felt angry by this westernization or this light version of yoga, because they feel that they and yoga are being robbed of their identity. After I have told you all this, you might think that yoga is only controversial in India, and that India is a country with a lot of religious conflict anyway, where any issue is worth bickering over. However, it is not so. You might think that in the Western world, yoga is just exercise. As I said, a fitness class you take at the gym. But in the US, that land of controversy, some Christian churches, for example, have spoken against yoga and have said that no self-respecting Christian can practice yoga. Why? Because they consider yoga part of Hinduism, and they say that the Hindu teachings clash with Christian teachings about spirituality and especially about our relationship with our body. On the other hand, you know how we sometimes speak of gateway drugs. Like, for example, people say we should not legalize marijuana because it's a gateway drug to worse drugs such as cocaine or heroin. Well, some Christian groups use this argument against yoga, and they say that yoga class that you like to take at the gym on Wednesday afternoon could be a gateway to Hindu spirituality and eventually to Hinduism, which would lead you away from the path of the true Christian faith. As you can see, for a peaceful, spiritual and introspective discipline, yoga is surrounded by passionate and outspoken critics, and is surprisingly full of conflict. Thank you for your attention.